Hello, my name is Darrell Jones, and I'm an ex-government employee. Spent 20 years in the military, then turned around, spent 18 years doing the same thing I did almost the 20 years I was in the military. Does that make sense? Of course it does. It's a job. Pays the bills, you know what I mean? And most of you here today, based on my understanding and based on um, looking at the chart that I have, most of you guys are government employees. It's safe to say that. So then if you are a government employee, you're probably here because the old boss wanted you to be here. Is that true? How many of you guys fell into that category? Yeah, I can remember those days. Those good old days when they said, Bill, you got a class this morning. I ain't thinking about the work you got to do, but you got a class. I can remember those days. But now, I guess it's a little bit different. So hopefully everybody's feeling good today. I know I am. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be of service to you all once again. And what I like for you to do, if you have a pen and paper, take it out, take a couple of notes. Some of the things I have to say, you may not remember, but if you jot it down, you'll be able to have it for later, when you're reviewing your notes or information that you need. Today we're going to talk about passwords. How many people know what you do with passwords? Just put a show of hands up. Yeah, that's simple because you know what? We all need a password to just do our job. Like logging into those computers. Those things that put us to sleep. Those things we get tired of. Those things we don't want to see when we get home. I know. But today, we're going to learn a little bit. I got one job to do. That's the lecture. And your job is just simply listen, learn. Is that good? Can we do that? Can we do it without anybody falling asleep? Good. Because you know what? When people fall asleep, that's a little bit disrespectful. And I don't want to disrespect you. I appreciate if you don't disrespect me. Is that okay? All right. So, what we're going to talk about is these passwords, the importance of why passwords need to be changed and the frequency in which they should be changed. When I was in the government service, I was required to change my password every 60 to 90 days. If it was on a government site, they wanted to change every 60 days. The military site, you could float between 60 and 90 days. But between 60 and 90 days, you had to change. Now, that wasn't talking about the password that I use at home. That was at work. Because everybody knows that so that you don't compromise yourself, every site that you visit, you should have what? A different password. Absolutely. Why is that important? Gentleman right there with the yellow shirt on. Right. You don't want to compromise anything. You don't want to compromise the material that you're looking at. That's why. When we compromise things, we have a tendency to fall into violation. People don't like that. So the best thing to do is use multiple passwords. Each site you go on, use a different password. How do you come up with a secured password? Let's talk about that. One thing you could do to come up with a secured password is paraphrasing. Use something that you heard from a story, like George Washington, I chopped down the cherry tree. I chopped down the cherry tree. Okay. Use cherry spelled Cheerie. Cheery. Use it cherry. Or spell it any way you want. Then add some numbers. Add a quotation mark. Add a question mark in there. Throw them off. Use multiple names. John Jeffrey John. You understand? You see where I'm going with this thing? So it's a lot of things we could do with changing the password to keep it safe and secure. That's the main focus. You don't want to allow the password to become compromised. So what is important to securitizing a password? The names that you use. You make sure that you don't use your kid's name. Make sure you don't use your mother's name. Don't use your birthday. And for God's sake, don't use your social security number. Because when you go online and you pay a bill, what do you use? What? Yes, a credit card. Do you want people to have your information? I didn't think so. So what you gonna do? Use a password that nobody can get to. Never compromise your password. Use paraphrases. Use numbers. Use multiple names. Use a different name on every website that you go to. Whatever you do, never compromise your password. Do we make that clear? What do we never do? Beautiful. Never compromise your password. Thanks, and you all have a great day.